Hi everybody, I saw an article today in the Morning Star that asked a question, and I'd like to now ask that question of you. Prince Andrew. Has Prince Andrew been rescuing young girls from sex trafficking all along? The answer, of course, is no. And they actually answer. To be fair to the Morning Star, they do answer it in the title. Has Prince Andrew been rescuing young girls from sex trafficking all along? No. This is a brilliant article by Peter Frost, and I am going to read it to you now. I think we all need to know about this. Just when we thought Prince Andrew had run out of lies, we hear that despite assurances that he would be happy to give an interview to criminal investigation authorities on his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, the FBI tells us that Andrew has given them, quote, zero cooperation following requests for an interview about his close friendship with the convicted paedophile. I wish they'd start saying in the media convicted paedophile and Mossad agent, Mossad honey trap. You know, I suppose they'll start saying that in the coming, I don't know, century when we finally figure out the truth with it. After we're all long dead. Continues. Prince Andrew has been keeping his head down generally. I bet he has. Just to be clear, this isn't the same thing as his favourite face down massage. Bravo. Some 230 charities and universities of which he was patron or similar have sacked him or hinted they want nothing more to do with him. Bravo. Great. His mother, the Queen, thank you for reminding us, Peter Frost, that the friend of convicted paedophile and probable honey trap agent extraordinaire Jeffrey Epstein, his friend Prince Andrew, the Queen is his mother. Thanks for reminding us. It seems he's pleased about this. He's pleased about it. She hopes it may protect the monarchy from further embarrassment and humiliation. No, it fucking won't. No, it won't. No, it won't. Not while people like me have breath in our bodies, it won't. This guy is fucking horrific, and there's a rot that runs through the establishment and ruling elite in this country, and we need to whip it the fuck out. Andrew and his ex-wife Sarah Fergie Ferguson, with whom he still lives, are a bit disappointed. Many of the charities provided the prince or both of them with all-expensive paid visits to many exotic locations at home and abroad. This fucking rich motherfucker who was born with a silver spoon shoved right up his asshole. He's now using his charity to go on junkets abroad. Honestly, it makes me sick. Stick around though, because this is going to make you feel even sicker. Also, each organisation held a formal royal lunch or dinner each year, providing 2/3 of the couple's annual nosh. It's a great big circle jerk. The pair will get no more free tickets to the English National Ballet. Oh, oh, what a bitch. They're going to have to start paying for their tickets to the ballet, which their charity would usually provide to them, or people who are donating to the charity. The pair will get no more free tickets to those events, both of which had him as a patron. Okay. Charities involved with young children were quick to realise his connection with a convicted paedophile, as well as accusations made about his own behaviour with underage girls could be embarrassing to say the least. Out he went. It seems even the Queen pulled the plug on a planned 60th birthday party for Andrew in February, despite Andrew being her favourite child. God, Not really a high bar, is it? Despite Andrew being her favourite child, despite Andrew being the tallest kid in class, the big palace bash was downsized to a discreet family gathering. Really? Discreet family gathering? Just, tight family and friends. I assume Ghislaine Maxwell was there. The prince appears to be trying to hang on onto his role with what was called Pitch at Palace, a scheme for young entrepreneurs, rather like Dragon's Den, with Prince Andy as chief dragon. And this is where you really start seeing the underbelly and everything that drives this need to be able to do anything he wants and take anything he wants, and just if he wants to rape a kid. He wants a young girl to do with what he should have. It. He's royalty. In the real TV show, the dragons use their own money, but Andy is smarter, or greedier than that. He got high-profile business sponsors like Barclays, the accounting firm KMPG, the Standard Chartered Bank, and the telecoms company Inmarsat to put up the cash. So he's basically just acting like Santa Claus, I suppose, giving out, Happily, all of them have now pulled out over the prince's recent behaviour. Good, that's an upside. But you can see the insidiousness of it. He wants to be God, giving money to people. He's not going to use his own money. Don't be stupid. He wants all the plaudits of the pictured palace. All the plaudits, yes, look how fantastic I am, but it's other people's money I'm giving away. Buckingham Palace issued a statement saying, quote, "The Duke will continue to work with what has been renamed Pitch and will look at how he takes this forward outside of his public duties and outside of Buckingham Palace. We recognise there will be a period of time while this transition takes place. I will assume the transition from Pitch at Palace to Pitch, dropping the palace." And also, have you noticed there? It says the Duke. Says the Duke. Buckingham Palace issued a statement saying the Duke. He's a prince, isn't he? A Buckingham Palace starting to, even we're starting to, can we distance him, please? I suggest the period of time it takes for Randy Andy. Too much of a nice of a nickname, that is, isn't it? For a paedophile. The transition from Pitch to being anything will take the rest of his life and never happen. Meanwhile, Parliament has launched an investigation into the way the scheme was run as a private company. Well, I don't know about you in the chat, but I am so happy now I've found out that piece of information. We don't need to worry, everybody in the chat. Parliament is going to launch an investigation into the way this dodgy ass scheme was run. We don't have to worry about it. Parliament, they're on it, everyone. This is where it starts getting worse, this article does. And you really start to see the awfulness of what they're doing here. Another charity initiative set up by the Prince to help young women. Help young women trafficked for sex in India has been embroiled in allegations of mistreatment. A charity initiative is set up by the Prince to help young women. This is sick, this is the way they do it. Andrew started Key for Freedom in May 2012. Soon after, he was pictured walking with Epstein in Central Park, New York, following the paedophile billionaire's release from prison. Let me read that again. Just let it rattle around in your head a little bit. Andrew started, quote, Key for Freedom, which was this charity initiative that was set up by the prince to help young women trafficked for sex in India. He started it in May 2012, soon after he was pictured walking with Epstein in Central Park. Following his release from prison. Coinky-dink. He claimed his new charity would financially empower vulnerable women in India, young women in India, by selling their handmade fashion items in Britain through retailers including Topshop and the Buckingham Palace website. So not only has he set up a charity where, you know, he can prey on young women and maybe even film other people, his friends, preying on new women and, I don't know, setting up shit the way Jeffrey Epstein had his operation running. Not only could he do this and have then basically young girls on tap, but he's also going to make them fucking work like they're in workhouses making handmade fashion items. I think it's scarves. I think it's silk scarves with their bare hands. When you find out how much these women are paid per week, you're going to fucking vomit. However, the initiative soon fell into financial decline and is now largely inactive, despite being highlighted by the prince and his family as a success story throughout the scandal of his association with Epstein. Throughout it all, he was like, yeah, I mean, we're doing this great thing for these women. In fact, exactly when the prince's team was setting up the Key to Freedom project, its partner charity in India, the Women's Interlink Foundation, the WIF, which manages care homes for vulnerable children and young women, was being investigated by the Indian authorities. 10 girls aged between 12 and 15 had run away from one of the WIF's 2 homes for trafficked and orphaned girls, alleging that they were beaten by staff and generally mistreated. Trafficked and orphaned girls, then working at a fucking workhouse making scarves, getting beaten and mistreated. What? And so the 10 girls between 12 and 15 that ran away who were mistreated, they're the lucky ones. What about the ones that didn't run away? Where the fuck are they now? In some global paedophile network being trafficked around by Epstein's fucking successor? WIF admits it did not tell the prince about the investigation, which it says cleared the care home, but it refused to publish the official police report or its own internal report. Refused. WIF's founder, Aloka Mitra, dismissed the young women's complaints, stating some of them said we did not get the correct kind of chapatis. People, honestly, they're sociopaths. Clearly, Prince Andrew and his team failed to conduct due diligence on his partner charity, as indeed they did with Key to Freedom, that also faces criticism that it gave false hope of financial security to the women making the hand-printed silk scarves, which were sold online at the Royal Collection shop. The Duke's website also claims the initiative has, quote, it's the one fucking thing on his website that I actually agree might be true. The Duke's website also claims the initiative has, quote, changed the fate of more than 100 vulnerable young women. Yeah, you're not wrong there. I suggest it has changed the fate of more than 100 vulnerable young women, to the point where their fate is far fucking worse now than it was before they got involved with one of his charities. He also claims it's still active, but WIF confirms no scarves have been available to buy through retailers for more of 18 months, and the only tiny orders for tote bags were placed. Those tote bags were given as gifts to guests at Andrew's daughter's Princess Eugenie's wedding last year. The young women who made them in India just got £1.50 per bag for something given away at his fucking daughter's wedding. By the way, that we paid for. His wedding, his daughter's wedding, Eugenie. We paid for that. One guest at the wedding was Sarajit Mitra, head of the Indian charity. I hope he was served the right kind of chapati. Here. Mitra, WIF's chief operating officer and son of the founder, has said that orders from Topshop declined after 2013 and stopped abruptly in June 2018 without any explanation from the prince or his team, which he described as, quote, rude. Despite this, oh, by the way, Topshop, that asshole, you know who, Philip Green? Yeah. It's a great big circle jerk, honestly. These people, they're all disgusting. Fucking climbing over them each other like a box of rats. It's just fucking vile. Despite this, in late August, a royal source close to the prince said he was particularly dismayed that his efforts to help victims of sex trafficking were being overlooked, while his connections with Epstein once again hit the headlines. It's just, you can't imagine the level of narcissism to actually be able to even consider to think that way. It's like a doctor. That headline there, that basically what he's saying, that I can't believe you're concentrating just on the Epstein stuff. What about where I'm trying to help girls? I know the Epstein stuff looks like I've been raping them, but what about the instances where it looks like I've helped them? It's like a doctor breaking somebody's legs repeatedly, but repeatedly fixing them, saying, I can't believe you're only concentrating on me smashing that poor bastard's knees in repeatedly when every single time I fix them afterwards. Mitra also said the women earned an average of up to £150 per year. Get this, equivalent to 41 pence per day. Whilst the WIF took 40% of the price of any scarves that were sold. These the Topshop ones. The money from the sales is put into accounts for the workers, but it cannot be accessed without the permission from Mitra. They have these young girls locked up tight. They can't fucking move, these young girls can't. They can't access, they can't even access the 41 pence a day that they get paid in slave fucking labour to make these scarves. While some of them then no doubt get trafficked into some fucking awful, god-awful global paedophile ring. Reportedly, the women cannot leave the barbed wire compound, without guards who accompany them to shops to buy essential items that are not covered by the money the state pays to WIF. It's like these poor young women are being fucking indoctrinated here. This reminds me of how the Church of Scientology works. Barbed wire fences keeping them in. If you've got to go outside, you've got to go with armed guards, especially, people in the Church of Scientology have thought of being a bit of a problem, going to one of their equivalents of a black site. It's very similar. And this is meant to be one of these charitable foundations that Prince Andrew set up. He's setting up here something that looks on paper to be the beginnings of his own little Epstein empire. Doesn't it? Doesn't it look here like he's trying to fucking emulate how his mate did things? Because he's certainly not on the side of the poor women. He's exploiting, at best, exploiting for 41 pence a day. At worst, sending off to be raped by God knows who around the world so he can blackmail them. I don't know, I'm just spitballing, but it does look like this is awful, awful, sick behaviour. The sort of awful, sick behaviour, by the way, that historically the powers that be in this country have swept under the table, under the rug. I'm thinking specifically Jimmy fucking Savile. They're going to try and do it again. They're going to try and say, oh, let's not let the truth come out against Prince Andrew, and it can come out when he's dead. Is that what they're going to say? We'll let the truth come out about Prince Andrew when he's dead. We'll let the truth out about him. We'll tie it up and we'll get Jacob Rees on it. Call Jacob Rees-Mogg. Get the Privy Council on it. We'll get the Privy Council to tie it up, and then at an appropriate time, in the fullness of time, we'll allow it to come out. But obviously, it can't come out until Prince Andrew's dead and the royal family are long fucking gone. Is that what the plan is here? This is fucking sick. What these people have been doing around the world. And you've been covering up for this behaviour for decades. Our institutions have been covering up for it. And now they want to do it again, to cover up for it again, whilst at the same time relying on the very people in this country, the workers, who they've been lying to and fucking screwing left, right and centre ever since I can remember. Keep working, stay in your homes, but you workers keep working your shitty wages, keep working for your minimum hours, and at the end of it, you'll all be on the scrap heap. We won't give a fuck, and we won't tell you the truth about Prince Andrew, and everything will continue the same. That is the fucking plan here, people. We are going to have to take it back from them. We are going to have to take what we deserve. We are going to have to fight for it. We are going to have to kick it up a stink. And we've got a perfect situation right now where we can really make them listen to us. Mitra was given copies of letters written by girls who had lived in the home where they expressed their unhappiness. One letter alleges girls in the home are badly treated, and when the children want to complain, they are told off and asked to be quiet about it. The British High Commission in India, oh God, the British High Commission in India was responsible for introducing the Duke to the WIF. Of course they were. The British High Commission in India. It has a wonderful reputation and history, doesn't it? One key member of the Prince's team, Amanda Thirsk, his private secretary, was at the centre of the Key to Freedom project. Thirsk was the one who advised the Prince to take part in his disastrous BBC Newsnight interview. She no longer works for him. You know what, when I saw that, I thought, I'm going to put on my conspiracy theory hat. I think actually somebody got to Amanda Thirsk. I think a guy just took, she'd never seen before, took Amanda Thirsk to one side and said, listen, advise the Prince to do that BBC interview, and you know what? Anything you've done in the past we'll overlook. Advise him to do the interview so he looks like a complete pillock, okay? That's my theory on this. Just a theory. Me being funny more than it. So don't quote me. And his ex-wife, Ferguson, came up with the Key to Freedom name. And Andrew's charitable trust donated £10,000 in seed capital. The initiative launched formally in 2013 with an order from Sir Philip Green's Topshop. We all know about Sir Philip Green and didn't he steal pensions or something like that? It was Me Too movement, wasn't it, with him? Honestly, they're all disgusting, these people are. But I was talking to somebody yesterday who walked away from a charity because they said charities now, they're not about charities. It's about how much money you can make. They're a money spinning enterprise. You know, when you're a charity and you go on a list, you've got all the names of all the other charities and all the other foundations and all the other people that you can send a letter. They just send a letter, send it to this people asking for money, send it to this people asking for money. So the Prince it's a big thick book that like that with all the names of these foundations and what have you can write to. And you know, you've got things like Children in Need you can write to after you've been a charity for 5 years, etc. You can imagine the Prince and his foundations and his charities sending letters out. People fall over themselves to send money to him. Meanwhile, the people he's saying are helping are being treated as fucking slaves in India, getting paid 41 pence a day to manufacture scarves. And that's just what's on the surface. What's on the underbelly is they're probably being fucking trafficked into some global paedophile ring. It's disgusting, this is. Just like his refusal to talk about his relationship with Epstein, Andy is also saying nothing about these Indian charities and nor his Topshop, which was involved with the Key to Freedom product at the same time as top boss Green was himself facing allegations of sexual and racial harassment and staff. Andy and Fergie's latest scam is to get you and I, the taxpayer, to pay for his other daughter Beatrice's upcoming wedding. Beatrice, fuck you. Pay your own fucking wedding. Pay for your own wedding, you spoilt privileged bitch. Go to your daddy and say, Daddy, we don't want this. The British people don't want it. And if you don't, go fuck yourself. To pay for his other daughter Beatrice's upcoming wedding, just as we did for his daughter Eugenie's £3.5 million bash. Most amazing is that Andrew, disgraced cheat and scam artist, remains the 8th in line to the throne. They used to be thought of as divinity, the royal family did. So it's like, you know, to them in the royal family, it's like Andrew he's the 8th most important person in the world, in God's eye. Ugh. Do we need any better argument to get rid of the whole steaming shit heap that calls itself the monarchy? I say we don't, and I would also like to say a big tip of the hat for that fucking excellent article by Peter Fry. We are ruled by absolute fucking disgusting. They're disgusting. I don't even want to call them humans. They're not. They're inhuman. And I say it's about time we got rid of this fucking stupid thing that we call the monarchy. Don't you? I think it's far past